If you're always comfortable, you're probably not growing. Embrace discomfort as a tool of growth. When I was in college, I had the same professor for 3 semesters in a row, and he told this same story each semester. And I don't think it really clicked until after I graduated. So it starts off with he had a public speaking class, and there was this guy in his class one day, and they had a presentation. And nobody likes presentations. Nobody likes public speaking, bro. Public speaking, bro. I know when I had that speech class, I hated that shit with a passion because I hated going up there and giving speeches. But his friend got called on. I think he said the presentation was about why Christmas got canceled, and I think it was like Santa got sick or something like that. But he said mid presentation, bro seen some fine shit sitting in the front row. He got nervous. He broke down and completely tumbled, bro. And then after that, he ran out the room and he was in the hallway and he broke down the hallway. However, bro, the professor was not having it. The professor told him to get his ass back in the classroom so he can come get a grade. So bro came in, everyone was laughing at him. No, I skipped a major part. So his professor told him to come back in and he told the class to give applauses. And apparently he said that the applauses were like the scattered like ass applauses. So that's so bad. That's so sick. And then secondly, he finished the presentation, but during the presentation, people were laughing at him. But he said after that, the dude darted out of class and he just never saw bro again. But the funny part about that story is that the dude in that story was actually my professor. And he told us that story to make a point that putting yourself in an uncomfortable position can lead to you growing and just being a better person overall, and how it can sometimes lead to something that you never even expected. Because think about that. Bro hated public speaking. He told us that he despised public speaking. And you know what's crazy? He ended up becoming a professor. He's been a professor for a decade plus, bro. Think about that. Just think about how insane that was, how he hated public speaking. And now he is a professor and has been for 10 plus years, bro. I think people naturally avoid discomfort simply because it's uncomfortable. Nobody wants to be uncomfortable. And what I like to think about when I think about this is Wall-E. Y'all see how everybody got all big and shit because they got all comfortable, was laid back in the ship. They had the robots to do all that stuff. And they got all big backed and shit. Yeah, bro. We can't be like that. I think discomfort is necessary for growth. And the first example I want to use for that is when it comes to fitness, bro. I'm a gym guy, you know what I'm saying? You can't really, you know what I'm saying? I do a little bit of something. And the example I want to talk about is bulking, cutting, or just lifting in general. All of those things require you to be in a level of discomfort. And it's a level you can kind of play around in. It's not too bad. And what I mean is that, and what I mean by that is whenever you are lifting weights, bro, there's always a point, whether it's that, you know, a power lifter or you're trying to build your physique up. Usually it's around that 6 to 8 mark where it starts to get hard. And that's the point where you are building up the most muscle. That's the point where your muscles is ripping the most, you pushing the hardest. And what I find insane about that is that's quite literally the scientific point where you're at the most discomfort, but undergoing the most growth. Have you ever thought about it that way? And I think when you think about that, you should take that and you should apply that to your whole life. Because now let's talk about when it comes to relationships, bro. I don't think it's as common now, but if you a shooter, bro, if you shoot your shot, you know, those first few times, bro, they uncomfortable. It's weird. It's just unknown land. You don't know what's going to happen. But, you know, eventually, as you keep progressing and you keep getting this game, you still don't know what's going to happen, but that fear subsides. That fear, it goes away and it just becomes okay, I'm just going to go up and talk. And it's because you grew, you understood now. You know what I'm saying? That I understand it now, that lethal shooter, you feel me? So right off the rip, I wanted this to be a little bit of an informational episode. So I have the science behind getting comfortable with discomfort and how it ties into the way the brain responds to stress, the way your body responds to it, and the adaptation and resilience from it. So number one, neuroplasticity, the brain adapts to discomfort. The brain is constantly rewiring itself based on our experiences. When you expose yourself to discomfort, examples, learning new skills, exercising, or facing fears, your brain strengthens neural pathways, making it easier over time. Discomfort signals to the brain that something new is happening, which can trigger growth if repeated. And the way I like to think about that is football, bro. If any of you played football in high school and you played from freshman year to senior year, I want you to compare your freshman year to your senior year, or even maybe your junior self to your senior self. Maybe you improve that much. But it's like we're constantly getting put in these uncomfortable and hard situations where you have to train your body past this point. But it's a point that you can play in. And I'm trying to draw y'all's attention to that point you can play in, because there's a level of discomfort where it's like, okay, I'm uncomfortable, but I can still kind of sit in here and have a little fun. And the way I like to think about it is flirting, bro. Flirting is the perfect example, because you have to do something uncomfortable to kind of, you got to tug at the string a little bit just to see what's happening. So that's that. Number 2, the stress adaptation response. The body follows the principle of, oh shit, boy, I was over here writing words. I had no idea what they meant or how to say them, but fuck it, we ball. The body follows the principle of hormesis, which means the small doses of stress, like lifting weights, cold exposure, or problem solving, make you stronger. When you step out of your comfort zone, your brain initially triggers a stress response, amygdala activation, but with repeated exposure, your prefrontal cortex learns to regulate the fear and discomfort better. With that, like I said, bro, that's basically saying anytime that you are under any pressure, you are growing. So in the gym, you're growing, trying to raise up the shorties or whatever you do, you're growing. Taking ice baths, if you've ever taken an ice bath, you know that the first couple of times, bro, it is terrible. It sucks ass. But eventually, over time, it begins to become more, what's the word? Like, you can handle it more, but I wanted to use the big word, but it's easier to handle. So the third one I have is dopamine and reward system. Pushing through discomfort releases dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter. This is why overcoming challenges feels rewarding and builds confidence over time. Studies show that people who willingly embrace discomfort, example, cold exposure and endurance training, just like running, because anybody who does any type of cardio knows, bruh, over time, that shit gets so much easier, especially if you're losing weight, it gets way easier. But anyway, excuse me. Let me reread it. Studies show that people who willingly embrace discomfort often have higher dopamine resilience, meaning they don't rely as much on instant gratification. So if you're someone who, if you're someone who struggles with, watching porn or smoking, drinking just to get that, that feel good, that high, if you're a high chaser, bro, a good thing that you can do is just put yourself in these uncomfortable situations. And I guess in that case, the uncomfortable situation would just be to stop. Because to you, if you're used to doing that one thing, it would be uncomfortable to stop. And that's kind of what you want to do. You want to play in that area. You know what I'm saying? If you have the urge to go beat your schmoinka, nigga, just get up, do some push-ups, do something productive, do something that you can put that energy into. That's how I used to do it. I'm not gonna lie, I did used to struggle with, getting the rocks off, but my ex wanted me to stop and I wanted to stop for her. So whenever I would have that urge, I would just get up and I would go either sit in the common area where it would be weird for me to do it, or I would just go play the game. Anything that would take my mind off of it, because that's all it is, bro. You just have to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation. That way you get comfortable being in that uncomfortable situation, because there's still times where I want to go get that schmoinka, bro. You know what I'm saying? When I want to go get the marbles off, but I can't, because I've told myself like, we got to play here. And I've gotten way better at it over time. Number 4, growth mindset and psychological resilience. Psychologists like Carol Dweck emphasize that seeing failure and discomfort as part of growth leads to a growth mindset, making people more likely to persist. Over time, repeated exposure to discomfort builds psychological resilience, making future stressors easier to handle. So the example I want y'all to think about that is, think about anyone who's been maybe an alcoholic beforehand and they're clean from it, or used to smoke a lot and they're clean from it now. If you ask them, they'll most likely say when they first started, it was so hard and it was so uncomfortable to them. But as they kept pushing on and over time sat in that area of discomfort, it became easier and easier. And that level of discomfort became from on this end to all the way on the other end. And now it takes a lot more to make them uncomfortable. And I'm sure they still do get uncomfortable sometimes. They probably still do have that urge, but they've sat in that area of discomfort so much that it has become almost nothing to them, or it's been expanded a little bit to where they don't get uncomfortable as quick. Number 5, fear conditioning and desensitization. The more you expose yourself to uncomfortable situations, the less intense the fear response becomes. This is similar to exposure therapy, where people gradually face their fears to reduce anxiety. And really, the only example I have of this are probably people that are scared of heights that have to fly a lot, or people that are scared of spiders that go to hold spiders. Me personally, bro, I want to try exposure therapy. I'm absolutely terrified of spiders. It could be the tiniest speck. It could look like a fly, and I'm running away. So in my future, bro, my wife is cooked. So if it's a spider in the house, future wife, I'm sorry, you have to handle that. That's not for me. I'll do the snakes. I'll do scorpions. I'll do roaches. You know what I'm saying? I could do anything. But if it come to a spider, you on your own, shorty. I can't help you. I can't save you. I can't save you. I can't save you. Anywho, I know what y'all thinking. Y'all probably like, well, Mac, how do I get okay with being uncomfortable? You got to put yourself in them uncomfortable situations. And the best example I can think about for me right now is this podcast. This is very uncomfortable. Sitting here, talking to a mic, talking to a camera is very uncomfortable and very hard right now. Y'all see how I keep looking down? Because I'm looking at my script. I'm looking at my script because I don't want to lose the plot. And I do this a lot. And that makes me uncomfortable. But I think putting myself in this uncomfortable situation will eventually transfer into me not having to look down as much and being more articulate with my words, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like I'm already improving it. If you go listen to one of my first episodes versus now, I think I'm much more articulate and I sound way smoother than I used to sound. And that was a pretty nice little sentence right there. I had no stutters. Go me, man. Give myself a pat on the back. That's what else you got to do. When you sit with some discomfort for a minute and you face that, bro, give yourself a pat on the back because you did a good ass job. I did all that shit just to look down and read my thing. So I read it, and the first example is stop waiting to feel ready. You just have to start. And that's with anything, bro. There's never going to be some perfect magical time to start something. If you want to start something, bro, you just have to start it and then go from there. Second thing for me is reframe your struggles as learning experiences. So I think a good example is just going to work, bro. I feel like everyone has those first 2 days of work, and it's like it seems it's hectic. It's like, bro, what the hell is going on? How do I handle this? What's going on here? Especially if you've ever worked the first day and it was crowded as fuck. Like, okay. I'm finna tell you about my first day at Urban Air, excuse me. So I pull up and I'm supposed to be getting trained by this girl, Miracle. So I'm like, okay, cool. I show up and it's crowded as fuck. I think this is like a few days after Christmas. And I go in there, I go to the back where I'm supposed to be going, and they put me on walls. Walls is like, that's probably the most physical labor you're going to be doing in there. It's just a whole bunch of like harnessing and stuff. So she shows me like once or twice how to do it. And then I'm like, okay, I think I'm starting to get the gist, but I'm low key not. Like I'm really struggling here. And I look out of the side of my eye, and Shorty is walking away. She's leaving. She's finna clock out. I'm like, bro, you're supposed to be training me. I need help. And I'm sitting here and there's a line of kids, a flurry of kids. And I'm like, I'm so cooked. I'm the new guy. I'm not getting any help. And I got no help whatsoever. But I say all that to say, in the end, I sat there and I just learned. You know what I'm saying? Reframe the struggles that you're having as a learning experience. It's much easier, I think, to blame things, but when you reframe it in your mind to learning experiences, it makes you more grateful and more opportunistic, and you want to take more chances and learn more things from people. And I think that's how I became so open-minded, is realizing that, okay, I don't know everything, and this might not be right. And my third and last step for me is learn from past moments of discomfort. What did they teach you? And I think the example I'm going to use here is freshman year of college me versus now. When I first came into college, I was just shy. I was just super shy and I was not outgoing at all. If you know me now, I seem so outgoing and I talk to so many people now, but it was not like that, bro. It was not like that at all. I would get into these toxic people and after I would start in my head, I would break down the whole conversation and analyze it and be like, bro, I should have said this. I should have said that. And quite frankly, man, social interactions were just uncomfortable because I knew that I would overanalyze the situation and either say something weird, do something weird, or I would just throw myself off. And what I did to overcome that fear is I would just start conversations with people walking by, or it wouldn't even be a start of a conversation. It would just be a compliment. So if I would see someone and I like their shoes, I'm like, hey, bro, I like your shoes. Or if I like the jacket, hey, I like your jacket. Or if there was a girl, I'm like, hey, I like your hair. It looks really good today. It's little stuff like that. And over time, it's uncomfortable. And that's a good part because say you got this zone right here. This is your uncomfortable to the point where it's not bad, but I'd rather not. And this is damn nigga, that shit hurt. This is where that was. It was playing in between that because I still had excuse me. I still had to actively interact with these people and kind of have a conversation from the time that I saw them because it was kind of like I seen them all the way back there and I would say it out loud first so we could interact. And then from there, boom, there would be nothing. But over time, after putting myself in those uncomfortable situations, it became easier to talk to people. And it also just became easier to be myself. That's another thing, bro. Always be yourself. Even if you think that's uncomfortable, being yourself will not be uncomfortable with the right people. So, as we come to an end on today's episode, bro, I want to encourage y'all to lean into discomfort, bro. I know it seems scary and it seems like it's not going to be fun, but I promise you, once you get into that and once you make it a habit, it becomes easier and it makes a lot of things in life, it just seems so much easier. I'm telling you, it's all just a mindset shift. And with that being said, I have one last question I want to ask y'all, bro. Let's let that focus out for a second. What's one thing you know would help you grow, but you avoid it because it makes you uncomfortable? Y'all let me know, man. Y'all let me know.